He is an average college student with almost no talent who accidentally summoned the most powerful weapon after coming this close to death. This anime kinda starts off like Solo Leveling, with a useless, weak crybaby of a protagonist who becomes overpowered after being given a second chance at life. Allow me to introduce you to Chang. The story begins with Chang, who is a below-average 20-year-old sophomore who majors in anime studies at college. The loser still lives with his parents, and his hobby is sinology, aka Chinese studies. This is the academic examination of China through literature and history, meaning he's a shut-in with no rivs. His headphones prevent him from hearing his mother's calls for dinner. This forces his father to come and get him. The family head is a well-known Chinese scholar, and his influence on Chang is what grew the lad's love for the topic. However, the way they express their love for the subject is very different. The family gather for dinner when his father asks of his location the previous day afternoon. He averts his eyes away, stating that he didn't go anywhere. A body language expert like me can smell the cap. The father helps me maintain my 100% success rate by pulling the receipts. He reveals that their neighbor told him that the lad set a stand claiming to read people's fortunes through their palms. His dad tells him to stop treading the crooked path and learn something serious. Chang is not interested in studying the more conventional ways. A phone call interrupts their family discussion, and Chang uses it as an opportunity to excuse himself. The dad is informed that he has a book signing in the city of X for his new publication. He tells his wife that he will be away for 2 weeks. He reminds her to pass his orders that Chang must stay at home to hold down the fort. The frustrated lad sits in his room confident that he truly has a talent for reading palms. He checks online to find the nearest sinology bookstores in his area. Chan finds one and journeys there that night. He enters only to find nobody around. He looks around when a book on an ancient Chinese character catches his eye. He gets spooked out when he hears a voice whispering to him and the lights flickering. He leaves some money for the book and dashes out. He stops to admire his latest pickup when he gets far enough, but his bliss is ruined when a panicked lady runs into him. She doesn't even wait to respond to his wellness check as Lei and his gang chase her down. They start ruffling her up for her attempted escape. The leader takes her purse and retrieves the money she supposedly owes him. Chang reveals that the hooligan is in his college. He doesn't want any trouble, so he looks to take his book and dip. Chang is mortified to see that his new purchase is just under the feet of Lei. The attention is drawn to it when he steps on the book. He sees that it belongs to Chang and starts to interact with him by calling the lad a fortune teller. Lei takes an interest in the book upon closer inspection and tries to seize it. Chang demands that the hooligan give it back. This proves that he's more willing to fight for a book than over a damsel in distress. Only a risless fool would choose this. Some will argue and say that he's not a simp. Let this sink in. A woman just got jumped by 3 guys and he watched like it was one of my recaps. Chang holds on to Lei as he refuses to back down, but the gang leader slaps him with the literature as he disses sinology. The lad defends his hobby as he kicks Lei in the shin, like they are in kindergarten before running off. The gang chases after him, but he gives them the slip through an alleyway as he blocks the path. He lets a sigh of relief and looks at his book thinking that he got away, but he puts down the manuscript when he hears Lei's voice. The hooligan throws a punch, but Chang dodges, causing him to punch the electronics store's window. The lad also pulls Lei's pants down by accident. Passers-by start to take pictures, which is some sort of crime, I am sure of it. This allows Chang to get away for the second time. He gets to a park and feels like he's safe, but he hears a harsh sound. This is followed by a barrier that is erected around him. A livid Lei drops down, revealing himself to be the one who put up the barrier. The level of humiliation he has just been subjected to is unforgivable. Lei gives the order to his ring sword to knock the lad down. The gang leader kicks Chen while disclosing the power he possesses that surpasses human comprehension. He claims to be different from normal trash people and asks his weapon to break Chan's arms and legs. Lei continues his attack as the lad cries in pain. He stops and gives the final order to finish him. Chang is determined to live as the blade comes down towards him. He's transported to a realm where he's greeted by a door. He wonders if it's the gates of hell as he opens it. A voice informs him that his wish not to die is easy to grant. Meanwhile, an explosion blows back the 2 attackers. A new weapon is summoned, causing the ring sword to laugh. He can tell that this newcomer is powerful and states that he's a weapon of Xuan level. The sword wishes to know his opponent's level, but the white-haired dude doesn't think the ring sword deserves to know because he's just an ant. Lei's weapon attacks, but the newcomer dodges while holding Chang. The lad is healed in the process. The white weapon then blocks an attack with his finger as Chang regains consciousness, surprised to see himself healed. The ring sword prepares his special attack, but the newcomer wishes to show his summoner his power and counters with a spirit bomb that even Goku would be proud of. It incinerates the gang leader's weapon. Chang is impressed and is sure that his father will approve of him now. Lei escapes but complains of chest pain. He collapses to the floor and disintegrates as his subordinate worriedly calls to him. Meanwhile, Chu observes everything and smiles because she has found what she has been searching for. The following morning, Chang wakes up and he's bamboozled to find the weapon he summoned sleeping next to him. He lets out a scream after taking a moment to process the situation. The nerd gets the newcomer a modern outfit to better blend in. They take a walk to get to know each other better. Chang wants to know the name of the weapon he summoned, but he doesn't remember his name. But one thing he has noticed is that Chang is the definition of rubbish, because the guy has very little spirit power. The weapon is sure that his loss of memory is a result of being summoned by a talentless idiot like him. Chang doesn't even know what he's alluding to, and decides to just call him White for now. They head back to his room to further discuss, but it is interrupted when his mother informs him that a lovely girl has come to see him. He quickly hides White in his closet. The lad comes down to Chu's greetings and he's already smitten like a professional simp. She reminds him that they are schoolmates, and their lecturer has asked her to bring him a file. His mother is excited to meet one of her son's colleagues and offers her to come in. The lady politely rejects, but she wishes to talk to Chang alone outside. The mother gets the wrong idea and pushes them out. The two take a walk and the lad wants to know where they have met before. Chu stops and snaps her fingers, prompting Zhang and Mo Yu to pop out. She gets straight to the point, stating that she has come to make a deal with him. She knows about the strange man he summoned the previous night. Chu assumes that he doesn't like White and lets him know that the weapon doesn't like him too. She offers to compensate Chang to take the newcomer off his hands, but the boy is more concerned by how she knew this information. Chu tries to gloss over it, stating that his answer is the only one that matters. White interrupts, wondering why she didn't ask him directly. He shows that he's a cold-blooded Rizzler by first calling Chu a goddess. He then kisses her hand and asks her out on a date. This, coupled with his dashing good looks, causes her to almost melt. Zhang butts in and warns White to dial down his techniques, or he'll teach him a lesson. The newcomer finds that threat amusing. Chan tries to diffuse the tension before it reaches boiling point. He makes it clear to her that he's not selling. He is aware that she sees him as a poor guy, but he has principles that he doesn't want to compromise on. White saved his life, so she should forget about buying him. He walks off, but the lady has not given up. The duo arrive back to the room where White explains that the gate that he saw when he thought his life was over was the Shangyuan arsenal, which predates humanity. It stores weapons from all times and places from around the world. Some of these weapons were made by famous figures, and others were wielded by great people. The rarest are ancient holy weapons. The Shangyuan arsenal classifies weapons in 4 levels: Huang, Xuan, Di, and Tian. Chosen people can summon weapons randomly, and Tian is theoretically the highest level. However, legend says that there is a level above that, and it is called the holy level. White says he's too good-looking not to be a holy weapon, and it's a shame that someone of his caliber was summoned by trash like Chang. Not only has part of his memories been blocked, but he can only perform like a weapon on D level. People who control weapons summoned from the arsenal are known as spirit warriors. Chu sits in her fancy house and continues the exposition. She informs that these are people born with spirit power, and in her family there has been born in every generation. She is a little confused because spirit warriors are normally born to notable families like hers. The fact that broke boy Chang is one is surprising. These spirit battles are dangerous and can lead to one's death. That is why she's been training ever since she awoke as a warrior. She is also motivated to win the Tiangan trial. Things switch back to White, who reveals it to be a battle royale between all the spirit warriors and their weapons. The winner gains the glory from the so-called gods and gets infinite wishes. Chang is shocked to hear this, and White doesn't know why the supposed gods would grant such a wish. Chang wants to enter and win because he's sure that his father would finally give him some recognition. Chu is also determined to win, but the rewards are insignificant compared to the wishes of her family. She looks at her family tree, and she's looking like the only heir. The lady decides to torment Chang through public shaming in order to get him to yield. She sets debt collectors on him, drops posters that attacks his character, and does much more. He finally meets with Q again, but he gives her the same answer. After learning more about this new world, he informs her that he's participating in the Tiangan trial. The lady gets offended that a layman wishes to fight. She gives him one last chance to sell his weapon and live a peaceful life. He recalls all the insults of mediocrity his father says to him and tells her to consider the words that come out of her mouth. He points out how she's desperate to buy a weapon from a layman, which makes her not special. Chu gets annoyed and orders her weapons to teach them a lesson. They clash with White, but they are not able to get the best of him. This confuses Chu, because Chan's weapons performance show he's at D level, The two also notice this but note how quick his movement is for a weapon of that rank. White reveals that Jiang and Mo Yi are Qian-level weapons. As the battle rages on, Ao Tian and Nalan from the Tianzun Hall make their way to catch Chu to impress their chairman. Nalan is a little worried because their boss warned them to be careful. Ao Tian is sure that they will be forgiven if they succeed. He runs ahead and interrupts the fight and expresses his wish to join in. Nalan soon catches up and remarks on how fast Ao Tian is. Chu remarks on the way they keep harassing her consistently. She wonders if he wants a beating. Ao Tian finds her dismissal of their kindness to be disrespectful, even though the chairman tolerates it. But he has had enough. Ao Tian turns to Chang and disregards him because he doesn't have a Tian-level weapon. Nalan begs his colleague not to provoke people unnecessarily. Chang finds the name of the Interrupters organization to be cool, and he's sure that they have strong weapons. Ao Tian takes this opportunity to reveal his famous sword named Long Yuan. He promises to spare Chang's life if he stays in the corner and play with the sand. The below-average loser is confident that his weapon can deal with this situation, since White's true level is unknown. He gets smug and informs Ao Tian that he made 3 critical mistakes. The first is underestimating Chu's beauty, and since Chang sees himself as the hero, it is tradition that he sides with her. The next thing was, he ruled him out as a potential ally by uttering that he would spare his life. Ao Tian points out that when the trial begins, someone with a D-rank weapon like his will not get far. Chang asks him to reconsider his assumption about him being weak, because Chu is after his weapon like people in the supermarkets on Black Friday. Ao Tian is not bothered and wonders if the guy thinks he's strong. This leads Chang to point out his last and worst mistake. But White doesn't let him finish and attacks the rude warrior. Nalan summons his weapon called Yu. She dashes in and blocks all the blasts. White doesn't care about his summoner's speech and just wants to eliminate them all. Chu is aware that Nalan's weapon performs well in the dark, but she shouldn't be too difficult to deal with. The rich lady leaves the assassin to Chang while she deals with Wang Yuan. Her weapons attack, but they are a little saddened since they all come from the same family of blades as Long Yuan. Meanwhile, White dodges Yu's slashes, and Chang is sure that dragging this fight will be to their disadvantage, because they have already used significant energy during their first battle. Chu is also aware of this, and gives the order for her weapons to use their skills to finish this fight. Long Yuan's power suddenly depletes. Mo Yi reveals that Zhen's drain ability deprives his opponent's buffs, and adds them to himself. Her skill allows her to move one's debuffs to any other person. She shifts White's fatigue to Long Yuan. Chu's weapons don't have the best attack power among the Tian-level weapons, but their skills are among the best in the class. When they come together, their combination is even more invincible. Nalan advises that they retreat and report to their chairman because these skills are too dangerous. Chang teases them by revealing that he would rather spare their lives on this day. Ao Tian vows to remember this because the Tianzun Hall will never give up on their goals. White comments on how lucky they are because he was about to use his full power. Chu is willing to form a temporary alliance with Chang after that display. She offers her hand for him to shake. The lad blushes with excitement to touch her hand. The reaction from her weapons causes her to withdraw it, which devastates Chan because he almost touched a girl's hand for the first time. Meanwhile, at the Tianzun Hall, Ao Tian and Nalan report their failure to the chairman. He rebukes them for causing trouble because it only delays their plans. They are all willing to accept any punishment. Yu is embarrassed for not being able to defeat White despite him being at D level. The chairman can see that White must be something special, and that is why Ao Tian's actions only makes the situation worse. Not only did he provoke Chu, he created a new enemy for them to deal with, but the boss is also sure that the summoner of this new weapon and Chu will form an alliance. One member feels like they should make Chu suffer for rejecting the chairman's offer. Ao Tian is ordered to give details about Chang. He describes him as a quirky, unpredictable character, and according to sources, he summoned his weapon when he was at the edge of death. This death summon piques their interest. Things switch to Chang and Chu, who are having a meeting at a cafe. She explains that a death summon is one of the 2 ways spirit warriors summon weapons. This is when the person's life is in danger, so they are given the chance to call upon a weapon from the arsenal. Most people attain their weapons with the second method, which is to summon them through a formal ceremony. It is revealed that Jiang and Mo Yi are husband and wife, so Chu got lucky and summoned 2 weapons in one roll. But due to this, she can't get another Tian-level weapon. This is one of the restrictions the arsenal has set up. The other limit is that it costs 100,000 of their currency from the second summon going forward. If it wasn't for the weapon level restriction, Chu is sure she would have won the game with her money. The topic changes when Chang asks about the Tianzun Hall. Chu reveals that they have existed for hundreds of years and are an organization created by weapons. The two make their alliance official so that they can defeat the Tianzun Hall. She is sure that they will send strong enemies now that Chang is on their radar. She reveals how people have lost their lives in past battles. If they fight together, they stand a better chance of survival. Chang is shocked to learn that Lei lost his life after they defeated him. Light discloses how a master disappears with their weapon when it's defeated since their spirits are connected. Back at the Tianzun Hall, the chairman points out Jiang and Mo Yi's deep historical relationship with them, so they should avoid fighting Chu if possible. They are sure that she will form an alliance with Chang, given how impossible it will be to solo the Qiangang trial. The chairman warns everyone to be careful now, because the rich lady likely has a strong ally. A strange guy in a mask hides in the trees listening to their meeting and has a grin on his face. After Chang and Chu settle everything, they go to her residence and the lad is in awe of the structure. She tells him to stop gawking and come in. Her maids line up and welcome back their madam. As they walk through the house, Chu informs Chang that he will be living on the property moving forward. He worries about telling his parents, but Mo Yi assures him that the arrangements have already been made. They enter the next room and he's shocked to see his mother, and she has not wasted time making herself comfortable as she drinks a cup of tea and some snacks. Chu was worried about the safety of his family, so she invited his mother to stay with them for a few days. Chang is a little embarrassed that she's eating at a place that's not their home. The trust fund girl gives them permission to make themselves at home. She pleads to borrow Chang to discuss something. Chu reveals that some enemies might want to hurt his family members. She also invited his father, but he was busy. Chang apologizes for causing her trouble, but she doesn't see this as an issue and wants to move on to the main topic. She wants to give Chang the chance of getting a Tian-level weapon since he only has one D-rank weapon currently. Their odds of success dramatically increase if he can get a weapon of that caliber. Chang is a little shy since he's a broke boy, so can't afford the 100,000 summoning fee. Chu is willing to foot the bill as she looks at this as an investment. He follows her instructions to summon the Shangyuan arsenal. It gives him the Spear Fang. White scoffs when he realizes that she is a D-level weapon. She gets offended by his scoffing, which causes some tension. Chang requests that they don't fight at first sight since they are teammates. Fang hopes that Chang is like her previous master Fengxian. The lad unconfidently says he is, but he knows fully well he's not on the level of the strongest general during the Three Kingdoms period. Fang promises to serve him well. The maid comes to let them know that the food is ready. Chang's mother is the one that prepared the meal, and everything tastes excellent as they hype up the food. After dinner, Chang bumps into some weapons, and it's revealed that Fang has some history with them. She and one lady get so catty that the lad has to restrain her. Later, Chu takes a bath in the public hot springs thinking about Chang and his motive for helping her. Her thoughts are disrupted when Chang and White come in to also take a bath. She panics and dives under the water. Unfortunately for her, the guy ends up sitting on her head as he comments on how comfortable the seat is. He only gets up when he remembers that they did not take a shower before entering. This gives Chu the chance to leave without being spotted. She doubles back to listen in on their conversation about her. The reason why he has decided to help her is because he realized that she's a good girl overall. This is proven by her actions to protect his parents and the fact that she invited him to stay. He admits that he would never confess all of this to her face, but little does he know that she already heard everything. Chang's mother finally returns home when things die down. Her son wants her to stay a little longer, but she points out the family shop she must take care of. Chu asks her to call if she needs any help. She makes it clear to Chan that she is doing this in hopes that she can eat more of her food. With his mother gone, they can start their preparations. Fang is to learn battle skills with the husband and wife. During that time, Chang will also undergo strict training to bring him up to standard. He studies and practices martial arts. Meanwhile, White goes through some testing by the rare weapon assistant. He didn't know that they could also be summoned. She can repair weapons that are damaged. The assistant is aware that White knows about his physical situation and what will happen if he keeps on fighting despite him being a holy weapon. White doesn't feel like he has any other choice. Chang later drags Chu to a sinology bookshop he wants to visit. He rushes off ahead of them. The rich girl tells him that he's just like a child. Hearing this reminds Mo Yi of their son Qi. The girl apologizes for bringing the topic up. Mo Yi is sad that they didn't reunite with him in their previous lives, and they don't think they will see him in this one. Mo Yi tries to remove it from her mind by suggesting they find Chang. Their child appears behind them, asking them if they are going to abandon him in this life just like the last. The couple turn around confused at first, but upon closer inspection he looks familiar to them. It hits them that the kid is a reincarnation of their son Qi. Mo Yi is prevented by her husband from getting closer because he's getting a weird vibe. Qi summons his weapon Tai Shu ready to fight his parents. All the while, Chan finds the bookshop, but it's closed, so he contemplates going back to the house to carry on with his training. White senses a strong spirit power in the area. He receives a call informing him about the situation. Chu erects a ward barrier, and the kid orders Taishu to eliminate his parents for abandoning him. Jiang steps forward to face his son as his wife reminds him that it's their offspring. As he clashes with Taishu, he realizes that he's a holy weapon. White has already informed Chang about this fact, prompting them to rush to the scene. Meanwhile, Jian is getting overwhelmed, and Moyi decides to jump in to help. She informs Chu of their opponent's legendary rank. The trust fund girl orders her weapons to use their skill, but it doesn't work on Taishu. To their shock, he alerts them that it is useless against an upper-level weapon. From their reaction, Taishu guesses that that combination was their final resort. He's disappointed, but chooses to show them an example of what a final attack should look like. It leaves a giant crack on the ground, and Chi also complains about it almost hitting him too. He tells his weapon to be quicker with his elimination because he wants to go home and watch Slime the Goat. Taishu launches an assault at Chu, but Chang tackles her out of the way before it hits. The holy weapon gets frustrated and launches another attack, but White comes in clutch and blocks it. Taishu recognizes White as soon as he sees him, even calling his face disgusting and annoying. Sounds like someone is salty that they are not as good looking. Chung prompts White to try and get information about himself from their opponent. Taishu is puzzled that he's in this world. He too doesn't have his full power, but he is still willing to fight. Chi dances around excited to eliminate all of them. A voice suddenly echoes in the kid's head, telling him his power is far beyond what he's displaying. This interference causes his head to hurt. Taishu is forced to retreat. Moyi shouts for her son to come back, but she is told that they have not been there for him, so they have no right to make such a request. Chang is happy that the battle ended. They go back to the mansion where the couple narrate their ancient life story. As a fan of history, Chang is excited to hear it from the horse's mouth. White shuts him up and calls the guy a fake Sinology fan. Moyi states that during the spring and autumn period, her father was known as the first swordsmith. One day she and him stumbled upon a badly injured Jiang. Her father saw his talent and taught him how to smith so that he would inherit the skill. As time went by, Moyi and Jiang fell in love and married. Her father was a hermit living on a hill, but one day he was ordered by the king of Chu to make 3 blades for him. So the old man and his apprentice journeyed to the king and made the swords. Long Yuan was one of those blades. As they returned, they happened to save the king of Yue, who was dying due to a siege. The master smith volunteered to forge swords for him to fight back. They found a mountain and set up camp and made blades without worry. During that 3-year period, one of the blades they forged was Zhan Lu, which was said to be the best sword in the universe. We learn that the chairman of the Tianzun Hall is Zhan Lu. Back to the story, a war broke out and the couple got separated from Moyi's father. They fulfilled the master smith's promise and completed the 5 swords for the king of Yue, after which they went back to their home village. However, their bliss didn't last long because the king of Chu gave them 1 flame and icy iron to forge 2 blades within 3 months. Jiang refused since those ores were holy, so they couldn't have melted easily. The king burned their village, forcing Jiang to agree. After 2 years of trying, he found that adding his and Moyi's blood to the ore allowed them to make a male and female sword. Around that time, Moyi was pregnant, and Jiang knew that the king would exterminate him after completing the work, so he presented only the female blade to the monarch. Jiang was slain as predicted. The king later learned of the male sword and hunted down Moyi, who had just given birth. She sacrificed herself to protect their son. She was saved and raised by an old man. The boy wanted revenge after hearing his parents' story. The old man convinced the lad to end himself so that he would fulfill his revenge. The old man took the head to the monarch and threw it in a pot. It jumped and bit the king, creating an opening for the old man to take the monarch's head. The guards came to find the old man's head in the pot along with the other 2. Chang guesses that during the process of reincarnation, Chi's soul mixed with the others, making his spirit unstable. The kid having Taishu is also a problem. White is confident that he can defeat his fellow holy weapon. Chu feels like they should avoid him till they figure things out. Chang volunteers to do some reading to find a solution. He falls asleep while studying when he gets a call from his father telling him to come back home. Meanwhile, the masked man is revealed to be Mr. Yi, and he's part of those who oversee the Qian Gang trial. He asks of Chang, but the rich girl informs him that the lad is not around. The overseer states that he has some information about Qi. During that interval, Chang keeps the weapons in his room while he faces his father. The family head has done his research on Chu and accuses Chang of scamming the girl with his fake Sinology. The boy denies this and corrects his dad once again that his practice is not fake. The loud argument can be heard by the weapons as the father forbids his son from seeing the trust fund girl. Chang leaves the house frustrated because he's sick of being spoken to like he's still a child when he's a college man now. Back at the mansion, Chu is surprised to see Mr. Yi because they are not permitted to interfere with spirit warriors. He has no intention to do so unless there is a danger to ordinary people's lives. The overseer reveals that Chi will perform such an act in the business district that afternoon. Mr. He feels like Chi is a good kid that is being utilized to do bad things by Chairman John Liu. It seems like his intel is good because the lad has taken some people captive. The overseer reveals that John Liu was summoned in a dark ceremony. This is when a person is sacrificed during the summoning ritual. It causes the weapon to lack mercy, but it has far stronger power in exchange. John Liu is extremely unreasonable and doesn't mind eliminating people to collect spirit weapons. He invited Mr. Yi to the Tianzun Hall for some days, and the overseer witnessed the chairman convince Qi to perform his current actions. The rich lady wants evidence, but the chairman made that difficult to obtain. However, Mr. Yi offers her information about John Liu's skill. Things switch to Qi taking a selfie after igniting a ring of fire around his captives. He sends this to Chu, who has just been told of the chairman's skill. She's shocked by how OP it is, but the message from the boy catches her attention. Moyi gets a glimpse of the picture on her master's phone and rushes off to her son. Jiang also follows his wife. The rich girl calls Cham to tell him to come back to guard the house. He notices something is wrong, but she doesn't tell him about the situation and just gives him 10 minutes to return. Chu ends her meeting with Mr. Yi and joins her weapon in investigating the area on the picture, but they find no clues. Their investigation is interrupted when a ward barrier is erected around them. She tries to call Chan to inform him about the trap, but her phone is broken with a knife throw by Lin. She's with Chi and lets the rich girl know that the chairman has ordered she comes back with them. Lin wants the lad not to interfere. She makes it clear that he's not under the chairman's control, but decides to stand down and watch. He tells his mum to shut up when she calls for him. Lin wastes no time and attacks, but Jiang saves her from harm. Chu is shocked that a human has so much power. Jiang is taken aback by her level of might. Lim hints at the torture she went through to attain her current level of energy. The husband and wife try to hold her off, but their skills don't work on her, and she overwhelms them. Chu forbids them from standing to fight again, because she can't take seeing her weapons getting injured. Meanwhile, Chang and White rush back to the mansion when the holy weapon reveals that Jiang and Moyi's skill may not be effective against someone who has attained harmony installation. This is the ultra battle mode of spirit warriors where a weapon and its master's heart unite in harmony. During that interim, Chu's subconscious informs her that tears aren't going to help the situation. The girl doesn't know what to do since Lin is in the state of harmony installation. The specter berates her for being weak, prompting her to run to her weapon's side. She further expresses her reluctance to lose them. They also view her as their own child since they have watched her grow. This touching moment increases their synergy, allowing Chu to enter harmony installation. She appears out of the smoke holding both blades with an outfit change. She's full of power and confidence as she lets Lin know that she's going to pay for her actions. Lin is a little salty that she managed to reach the same level as her as the two dash towards each other. Lin blocks her heavy strike but barely manages to evade. Chu keeps up the pressure with another attack but sends her opponent crashing into a building. The rich girl can see that her swordplay and magical power are on a higher level than Lin. She refuses to believe this as she tries to get back up. Her attacks are easily dodged, and Chu finishes the battle with a combination slice from her blades that beats Lin. Her weapon advises that they retreat since the trust fund girl's power is currently greater. Lin vows to get her revenge as she escapes. Chi is unimpressed with the anticlimactic ending and leaves himself. The rich girl collapses to the floor exhausted as soon as the place is cleared of enemies. During that interval, Ao Tian and Naoan lead a unit to attack Chu's mansion under the order of the chairman. White alerts everyone of the intruders approaching. The force comprises of 10 D-level and 2 TN-level warriors. Chang formulates a plan which will start with Fang confronting them. She's there to meet the intruders as they rush towards the front door. Ao Tian orders Long Yuan to defeat her. The guy is thinking about how cute she is as they have their first clash. Fang draws the 2 TN-level fighters away, leaving the fodder to handle the occupation of the house they assume to be empty. They run to claim their prize, but the door opens to White and the rest of Chu's weapons coming out. They start to take down the attackers, and White destroys them to Chang's protest. The holy weapon reminds him that soft-heartedness should not be practiced during the Chen Gang trial. The other weapon agrees and advises Chang not to hesitate to take Bieneni's life during the contest. Meanwhile, Long Yuan has caught up to Fang and engages her again while trying to look cool. Nalan also joins the fight as Yu the assassin tries to backstab Fang. However, Light makes it in time and blocks the attack, and starts to fight Long Yuan. Chang tries to engage Ao Tian directly, which forces Yu to come out of hiding to defend him. White is then ordered to attack the assassin, but Long Yuan blocks it by erecting a wall. Ao Tian reveals that his weapon's abilities change depending on the weather. The small lapse in concentration leaves Chang open to Yu's strike. Fang recalls the demise of her previous master and uses herself as a shield to protect her current boss. Chang holds his weapon, shouting for her not to meet her demise. All the while, White fends off Long Yuan's attacks. He looks over to the crying human, blaming himself. The holy weapon calls him useless because he's supposed to be concentrating on the current high-level threat. White gets knocked down due to fatigue, but Jiang and Moyi drop down just before he gets finished off. The couple push back Long Yuan as Chu goes over to check Fang. She assures Chang that his weapon will survive, but triggers her to enter miniature weapon form for now. The rubbish boy is so relieved that she will live. Ao Tian and Naoan are confused to how Chu made it back home, and with so much spirit power. She reveals that Chang is not as useless as we all thought. The guy asked her other swords to find her. They restored her power, allowing her to get back in time. She turns to Chang and gives him a pep talk about how not getting up after failing is where the true defeat lies. So he should stand back up and help fight their battle with the Tianzun Hall. The lad emotionally recovers with renewed confidence. The couple hit Long Yuan with their skill again. White's fatigue is transferred to him again. He can't believe how the holy weapon fights while in this much pain. Meanwhile, Ao Tian gets annoyed that he's recovered. He doesn't intend to retreat this time around. The weather is perfect as it is a star-filled night. Long Yuan draws power from the constellations, which allows him to fend off multiple opponents with ease. By the time everyone figures out his new source of power, he has already gathered enough to unleash a devastating attack. White tries to block it, but he needs more spirit power. Chang cuts himself with Mini Fang and uses his residue as a medium to increase White's power. This allows him to nullify it to everyone's shock. He takes that energy and shoots it back at Long Yuan, taking him out. Ao Tian and Naoan quickly retreat. Two sprints to check on Chan, who has collapsed because he gave too much energy. Meanwhile, White catches up to their attacker and stabs Naoan as they take stock of the situation. Things continue when it is revealed that Naoan lost his life to that assault, as Zhan Lu angrily stands there processing the loss of his subordinate. Mr. Yi interrupts to comment on how his intense bloodlust shows why he's the head of the Tianzun Hall. The overseer expresses his condolences for the loss, as he didn't think the rich girl and her allies could be so cruel. The chairman intends to take his revenge. Mr. Yi feels like this would relieve Nalan's soul. The overseer gives a sinister grin as Zhan Lu makes his move. All the while, Chu is happy to see that Chan has regained consciousness. The guy is still a little dizzy, but he's fit enough to do some light reading. She criticizes him for using his red residue as spirit power. Because it's very risky, she informs him that he was in a coma for 2 days. One of the weapons interrupts their conversation and starts to tease the two, which makes them blush. He quickly changes the topic as the weapon reports that the work he asked them to do is going on well and almost complete. Chu is confused, so Chang expounds on how her house is positioned on a spirit ley line. He plans to utilize this to improve the mansion's defenses, since they were so easily breached last time. The trust fund girl is impressed by how much progress he is making. The guy states that he just wants to earn his keep. Jian comes in with urgency to alert his master that Zhan Lu himself is intruding with Lin and Ao Tian. Chan wants all the smoke because he gets out of his sick bed to accompany her. The chairman and his subordinates emerge from the woods, and Chu can feel his murderous and hostile intent. He stabs his weapon into the ground as he asks Chan to summon his weapon after confirming him to be the guy. Zhan Lu wants to talk to him. As soon as White appears, the chairman wants to fight him one-on-one before he destroys the mansion. Mr. Yi watches from the shadows, happy to see the tensions escalate. White fires a spirit arrow which the chairman nullifies and gets behind the holy weapon, who barely manages to evade. Zhan Lu is impressed and quickly starts to increase the intensity of his attacks. White recalls this to be Zhan Lu's skill. Mr. Yi told them that the chairman can move freely in space and time, and the skill is called Ksana Pith. He can even shift time to the moment before he got hurt to negate any injuries he may have sustained. Zhan Lu displays this and lands a cut on White's back. Even though the skill is overpowered, one can defend in advance if they can predict Zhan Lu's attacks. White is already aware of this and stands to dodge and deflect the chairman's strikes. The Tianzun Hall leader wonders how White can keep up, but he still manages to land a hit on the holy weapon. White doesn't think the chairman is that strong after taking that direct hit. As they continue to clash, the others complete the project Chang set for them. The useless fool built some markers out of wood to draw out the spirit energy out of ley lines to boost White's power. Roles have now reversed, and Mr. Yi doesn't like this. He takes matter into his own hands and tries to eliminate Chang. However, he fails when the lad enters harmony installation with Fang. Turns out that traumatic moment, almost losing his weapon, allowed him to attain this new level. The other weapons surround him as it is revealed that Mr. Yi is the vice president of the Tian Gang trial, and it's a surprise that he's attacking a spirit warrior when he's supposed to be neutral. He's shocked that Chang figured out his identity. The lad explains he found it suspicious when Chu gave him 10 minutes to get home during the previous incident when she didn't know where he was. It was a very accurate read of his distance from the mansion, which shocked him. He later found out that it was Mr. Yi who gave her that time frame, which means that he was always tracking him. He planned for Chu to leave the house and Chan to come back in time for the sneak attack. It didn't make sense for the Tianzun Hall to launch such a bold attack, given how the chairman has been reserved with his interaction with recruiting Chu. This meant someone else was behind it. John Liu is surprised to hear that his people attacked when he only gave orders to investigate. Ao Tian states that they received orders from their boss to siege the mansion, and he even gave them helpers. The chairman makes it clear that he didn't give such orders. Ao Tian even brings up how White eliminated Nalan. The holy weapon denies this. The chairman starts to get a full picture of what is going on. Zhan Lu reveals that there were some debris in his body since he was forged, and Mr. Yi told him not to give it to anyone. These debris were responding to White while they were fighting. He turns his blade to Mr. Yi because he's aware that the guy is a master of face-shifting art. This means that they have all been tricked by him. He was the culprit who gave the attack order and eliminated Nalan. Chang throws his spear at the vice president, but Qi pops out and blocks it. He gives the order to Tai Shu to eliminate them all. Mr. Yi takes his leave as Zhan Lu vows to never forgive him for eliminating Nalan, and he must pay with his life. The chairman returns White's debris back to him and apologizes for wrongfully accusing him. The holy weapon enters his inner world and touches the fragment. This triggers a memory of him and Tai Yi looking up at a giant creature as he's told to save the people. White comes back to meet Qi, calling him a broken D-level weapon, so he transforms ready to show them his new power. Everyone tries to open Qi's eyes to the fact that Mr. Yi is using him. Tai Shu blocks the chairman and Lim's attack, as he states that it was the Tianzun Hall that betrayed them first. Long Yuan also joins the assault, but Tai Shu can handle all three of them at the same time. Chu enters harmony installation as she attacks along with Chang and White. It feels like a gang crime at this point with the way they are attacking. Tai Shu deflects all the physical attempts, but the debuffs from Chu's new skill starts to affect him. Chang uses this opportunity to launch his spear, but that's blocked. White also fires another arrow which causes a little bit of damage. Tai Shu reveals that it's been 5,000 years since the last time he saw his own blood. To reward them, he finally uses his full power. He sends his main opponents to his zone where he has full control. Chu's sword thrust easily gets negated. The party are forced to run as Tai Shu goes on the offensive firing explosives. They try to figure a way to defeat him. Moyi pleads with her master to allow her to deal with her son. Chang decides to help her while the rest distract the kid. Chu throws Moyi towards her son. She tries to convince him to stop his hostile behavior. The king strangles Moyi, letting her know that her son has taken a back seat. This confirms to White that 3 souls in the one body have formed a trinity fusion. Tai Shu notices them trying to meddle with his master and attacks all of them. They fall to the ground like a pack of dominoes, and the harmony installation smacked out of them. He demands that the king allow Qi to take back over, but the ancient monarch replies by forcing Tai Shu to enter harmony installation. This dispels the special area, bringing them back to the normal world. The others try to attack the king while Chang draws power from the ley line. He uses this boost to enter harmony installation with White, and they are strong enough to do damage to the king with a blast. The monarch tries to counter the next attack, but Qi holds his hand back, allowing a devastating technique to hit the main body. Chang lands holding Qi, who is back to his normal self, and calls to his mom and dad as they rush to him. He recalls what happened in the past and how other forces tried to manipulate him. The kid has taken too much damage and disappears, hoping that they can reunite in the other world. Meanwhile, Mr. Yi pays Chang's mother a visit and leaves her unconscious. Chu later gets word on the attack on Chang's mother. The lad gets home as quickly as possible. She gains consciousness again for a moment and informs her son to save his father, as he has been taken by Mr. Yi. She logs off from the world again. They rush her to the hospital where the nurses work hard to stabilize her. Chu assures him that his mother will be fine. White displays some terrible situational awareness and states that they should find Mr. Yi immediately. Fang berates him for his insensitive comment. Chang gets livid, believing that White has no empathy. The holy weapon feels like emotion disturbs people from thinking rationally. Chang's words about him not knowing the feeling of losing loved ones knocks White back. He gets another vision of him and Taiyi prompting him to excuse himself, but he advises Chang to consider going after Mr. Yi as soon as possible. The others try to comfort the lad after what his weapon just said. Later, Chu and John Liu have a meeting where they drink hot water, which is diabolical if you ask me. They discuss the potential whereabouts of the vice president of the trial. John Liu is confident that they will find him since he has all members of the Tianzun Hall looking. During that interim, one of the weapons drops some words of wisdom when he sees that she's worried about going to the end of the trail with Chang since she's a D-level weapon. He makes it clear that a weapon's devotion to their master is also very important, that bond shared can transcend power levels. Hearing this gives her some confidence. Elsewhere, Chang and Chu have a heart-to-heart where she reveals more about herself as she speaks about how much she loved her rich deceased mother. She confessed this detail to let him know that she understands what he's going through and that she's confident that he will overcome it. The trust fund girl is aware that he's not the type of guy to hate his weapon, so he shouldn't resent White for his comments. All the while, the holy weapon has some coffee and recalls himself holding a fallen Taiyi, showing that he does know the meaning of losing someone important. He's joined by John Liu, who advise him to support his summoner more and offers the holy weapon some tipsy juice. He takes it as he leaves. White goes to talk to Chang with the intention to reconcile. Seeing him and Chu together triggers a vision of Taiyi and his queen. The rich girl excuses herself as Chang apologizes for talking to him harshly. White accepts it since emotion can run high when it comes to family. The lad blames himself for his mum getting hurt and feels like they need to catch Mr. Yi. Chang's smile reminds the holy weapon of Taiyi, which causes him to get lightheaded. The lad is there to hold him, and they walk back together. Receiving a shard from the chairman brought back some of his memories. White is a weapon called the Hongmen Heaven's Bell, and his master was the Eastern Emperor named Taiyi. The Emperor was a legendary figure, and the leader of the spirit group. White was also friends with his master. One day, 10 beasts rampaged, causing the land to become hell. Taiyi fought these creatures to protect the spirit group, but he met his demise, and White was broken into pieces. Presently, Chang and the others have a meeting because they have located Mr. Yi's hideout. They transport to the location after coming up with a plan. Chang gets a bad vibe as soon as they arrive. The chairman reveals that his men reported that Mr. Yi is near a crater. White appears and informs everyone of the exact location of their target because he can sense him. Chu triggers a trap as they proceed. The holy weapon cuts the arrow before it can hit its mark. A hologram of Mr. Yi with Chang's tied-up dad shows up. He assures the lab that he's safe, and if he wants to keep him that way, only him and his weapon should step into the portal. Chang doesn't hesitate and enters. He's split from White and thrown into a hell-like environment. The vice president sits on a throne watching him gawk at the new environment. He informs the lad that his weapon will not be joining them for a while. Mr. Yi gives some exposition about the rampaging beasts and how they pop up once every 1,000 years. When that time comes, their world will turn to hell. Not even a holy weapon can fight this disaster. He urges Chang to back out of the trial because he's useless, and his attempts will only lead to more suffering. The vice president reveals that he's there to guide people to their right path, and Chang needs to give up White if he wants to survive the Kandang trial. White hears everything and breaks through, dropping down like a comet. He lands an attack on Mr. Yi's mask, which breaks it. They are shocked to find that he looks just like White. The vice discloses that both he and White come together to make the ancient holy weapon Hong Meng. Their parts are equal so they can absorb one another. Mr. Yi's goal is to consume White and attain full power without the need for a master. White is not interested, revealing himself to be Taiyi's holy weapon, which is kind of disrespectful to Chang if you ask me. White tries to disassociate himself from his other half. Mr. Yi is sure that he will change his mind after seeing the truth. The holy weapon was apparently falsely accused of colluding with beasts, plotting to eliminate the emperor and wanting his wife. Given the level of the weapon, normal punishment wouldn't work, so Taiyi sealed the weapon's power and banished him. White doesn't believe this vision and tries to attack, but both he and Chang are neutralized with a lightning spell. Meanwhile, the others proceed through the cave and are confronted by Mr. Yi's subordinates, but the OP party quickly dispatches them. White and Chan try a bootleg wish-level Rasengan, and just like a fake, it explodes in their face, sending them flying. Mr. Yi can't help but laugh. He applies a debuff on the duo that pins them to the ground and reveals he's breaking their unity, which is essential for harmony installation. Mr. Yi stamps on White like it's a street fight as he insults him for being easy to manipulate. He shows him more visions of what Taiyi did to them. White was ostracized and beaten by everyone, So he lived in the mountains till the Emperor's final battle against the beasts started. He pretended not to care, but he couldn't hide his feelings of worry and rushed to the palace to find Tai Yi pierced as his lifeless body was slumped over. White tried to shake him awake to no avail. He was confused by Tai Yi's actions because they would have stood a better chance if they fought together. White's body was shocked and broken by the loss. The main part of his body was absorbed by the Shanyuan arsenal, and the other part, along with his memory, continued to live in the mortal world. Mr. Yi tries to let White understand that their former master only saw them as tools, which is why they got abandoned when they became useless to him. He feels like they can win the Kangan trial if they join together. With that power, they can take over the world. Their success will be the best kind of revenge against everyone. He begins the absorption as White slowly sinks into a portal. Chan struggles to get closer to his weapon as Mr. Yi continues to cut off their relationship with his powers. Currently, White can't even hear the lad's voice. He tries to protest this, but he's kicked away like he stinks. Luckily for him, he lands closer to White and grabs onto him, calling for him to regain consciousness. The vice president is sure that Chang is just using the holy weapon as a tool to fulfill his vanity. He denies this, pointing out how White is not a tool to him, but someone who is trying to learn how humans live. Chang refuses to abandon those who are beloved to him. All the while, White drowns in his inner world, feeling like he has been forsaken again, and no one needs him. The young man reaches inside and grabs White's hand, stating that he will never abandon him. The holy weapon recalls that Tai Yi said that to him in the past. Chang reminds him that they are a team while also friends, and the others in their group also see him as a comrade. He assures White that his previous master had his reasons for his actions. Mr. Yi realizes that Chang is undoing his spell and attacks, but he's blown back before he can do anything. The duo completed a harmony installation against all odds. The dark side gets annoyed and attacks, but it's blocked. White admits that he did lose the memories of being abandoned by Kai Yi, but Mr. Yi has lost the memories of living with the Emperor happily and trustfully. They continue to block attacks while apologizing for him not having such recollections. The dark side gets completely nullified and finished off with a deadly combination. The duo split so that Chan can go save his dad while White gets closure from his other half. He has come to understand Mr. Yi now, because White is not sure how he would have turned out after being forced to live on Earth for thousands of years. The defeated half can't believe that White is still siding with humans after learning what they went through. White is not sure if the race is worthy of such a thing, but he knows that he can count on Chan and Tai Yi. Mr. Yi gets absorbed, but he can't wait to see the day that White regrets his choice. During that interval, Chan supports his father as they walk back, when he suddenly grabs his son by his neck. His father tosses him up in the air and summons a weapon that absorbs energy from Chan. He turns to find that Chu and the members of the Tianzun Hall have arrived. The lad gets up and is confused by his dad's actions. Fang stands between the two, and willing to risk her life for her master. The father calls her a silly girl, and blows them away with just a simple sword slice. White stops Chang going to talk to his dangerous dad. The veteran lets all of them know that he's sparing them as he opens a portal. However, if they want the smoke, he's ready for that too. But everyone stays put after seeing his power. He passes through the portal as Chang demands an explanation, but he gives his son a look like he's trash and he's certainly not coming back with the milk. After the failed rescue, Chu and Moyi take a bath at the mansion as they discuss Chang's father's weapon. They are sure that it's at least of the Tian level, and they felt a strong and weird pressure coming from it. They just hope that Chang is processing this new development with the help of his weapons. One of the maids interrupts their bath to inform them of Chang and his weapon's disappearance. They jump out to go find them. Fang is in a bamboo forest practicing because she thinks she's weak. Chang and White have gone back to the family home to try and find any clues for his dad's sudden change of behavior. He stumbles upon his wedding ring on the floor. White takes a closer look and can feel the same weird spirit power which hurt his mother emanating from it. He also already knows Mr. Yi's spirit power, so would have immediately identified it if he was the culprit. This means that the one who hurt his mother was his dad. Talk about a domestic issue. White stresses that this is just the conclusion drawn after looking at all the clues. Chang punches a picture of his dad as he thinks about the nice family life they lived. The son has chosen violence and revenge. That night, a big concert is happening in the city. The adoring crowds sing along when the light suddenly goes out. The technicians try to figure out the problem when one light comes on pointing at the father. The crowd whispers among themselves as they wonder what is going on. The pop star politely informs him that this is his show, but he collapses to the floor after getting an intense look. Everyone in the crowd starts to suffer the same symptoms and fall as his weapon turfing steps out. He asks if the crowd's spirit power satisfies her and is happy to hear that it meets her standard. During that interval, Chang and White run around the city because he's sure that a weapon that is strong requires the consumption of a lot of spirit power just to manifest. With that in mind, he's sure that they will do something soon. Chu finally catches up to him. He apologizes for making them worry and explains that the change in his father's behavior has something to do with the summoning of his weapon. A huge spike in energy plus the giant cross gives their target's location away. Jean Lu and his people are already on site clashing with Turfing. The chairman demands to know what happened since there is spirit energy overflowing in the area. It clicks that she used the concert goers, and he's livid that she's using the humans as her food. Turfing feels like the strong should feed on the weak. That little bit of fighting has made her hungry again. She offers him to come and have dinner with her by smashing his face on the ground and dragging him. The other members of the Kinzon Hall try to attack and fail. Lim's hand and sword are broken, and Long Yuan also finds himself on the floor with his boss. Turfing is given the green light to absorb them as they lie on the floor like it's a sleepover. The father calls his weapon his queen, stating that the world's spirit power belongs to him so that she can stay young and rule. Chang interrupts before it gets to that point. He wants to know why his dad is participating in the Tiangan trial. He drops the bombshell that he's a spirit warrior and one of the managers of the Shangyuan arsenal. He was so happy when Chang was born, but he got disappointed when he didn't show signs of having spirit powers. This meant that he couldn't let him succeed in his career, so he didn't inform them about his other life. However, Chang later showed signs that he's the reincarnation of Tai Yi, the Eastern Emperor. He tried to prevent his son from becoming a spirit warrior, but fate had something different written. He was livid when Chang summoned the holy weapon Hongmin Heaven's Bell because he felt like that weapon should have belonged to him. Because if he had that weapon in Turfing, he could defeat the beasts and rule the world. The dad learned that Mr. Yi was the one half of the holy weapon and was tracking his son, so he allowed himself to be captured so that he could absorb the powers, but his son's meddling ruined the plan. Chu attacks when it's confirmed that they turned the crowd into energy, but it's revealed that Harmony installation doesn't work on Turfing because she's a cursed sword and a master eliminator. A spirit warrior who trusts their weapon does less damage to her. White also tries to attack and loses his exchange. The father adds that Taithing's power doubles when her enemy is male. Talk about the ultimate feminist. After seeing everyone taking L's, Chang suggests that the only way for them to weaken her is to deploy the Juxian sword square. Chu points out the fact that they need 4 Tian-level weapons to pull it off and they only have 3. The other fodder weapons reveal that Fang can be upgraded to Tian level. If they sacrifice their energy, they will cease to exist, but they are willing to do it. Fang accepts their power and ascends to the top of the official power pyramid. With the 4th spot taken, the weapons get into position, creating a ring around Turfing. The cursed blade welcomes the challenge as she's confident that no one is stronger than her. A seal appears as the combination is complete. The joint attacks come together and hit their target. Turfing gets weakened, so she calls the father to give her more power. He offers his red residue and seals it with some lip locking, which is crazy because he's supposed to be married. So not only is he a wife-beater, he's also a serial cheater. The dad transports them to the realm of the Shangyuan arsenal. Chang speculates that this is where weapons live before they are summoned. His father reveals that no weapon can use their full power in this area. He accesses another level of energy when he transforms into knockoff Igris. This prompts Chang and White to enter Harmony installation, but the restriction from the space puts them at the disadvantage as he finds himself getting strangled again. The lad would rather be eliminated than give White to him, and he knows his father will not hesitate to hurt him since he has already attacked his mother. The father gets a flashback to how he treated his wife with disdain after finding that Chang was a reincarnation of Tai Yi. He wished to be the one who inherited the holy weapon. His frustrations was amplified as Turfing told him to take the Hongmeng Heaven's Bell by force. Her manipulation worked, and the mother tried to reason with him not to hurt their son that night, but his lust for power and the evil whispering from his weapon caused him to hurt her. The flashback ends with him throwing his son away, demanding he forfeit his weapon. Chang notices that everyone is lethargic. The father states that humans lose energy when placed in this area. The party refused to yield, so the dad opens the door of the arsenal using his administrative authority. The other weapons can feel themselves slowly getting sucked in. The chairman notices that the dad is also harnessing the power of the arsenal, and Turfing has completely eroded his soul, so he can't revert to his human form. Chang is still determined to stop him. The manager of the arsenal shoots a beam powerful enough to destroy the world at them. Chang stands and tries to stop it. The others can see him struggle him, so they all give him the rest of their spirit power, which allows him to neutralize it and enter a new form. He clashes with his distorted dad, who still views him as a tool. Chang counters the barrage of swords fired at him and finishes the battle with a blow that is charged with the hopes of everyone. He lets his father know that his mother always believed in him. A memory of them sending off a lantern pops into his mind. With the manager of the arsenal gone, Chang steps in and closes the door with the help of White. In the aftermath, Chu and White visit the chairman. They discuss how it was a miracle they came out alive, and the fact that all the people who were turned into spirits were able to be reverted to normal. No fatalities were recorded apart from the father's demise. Meanwhile, Chang sits alone at the park, contemplating all that has happened. He is later interrupted by White, who comes for them to head back since the Qiandan trial has not concluded. Elsewhere, a new threat has Taiyi's wife as his weapon, and is happy to see that the Eastern Emperor has been reincarnated as he plans his next move. That brings the season to an end. Shout out to Sensei_Big Joe for keeping it toasty in the comment section. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe so you can be in the next video.
Okay.